you have prepared the layout to try out your paints, we can get started. Alright, as you can see under dry on dry and wet on dry testing segments, I have prepared, I have painted some strokes to let the paint dry beforehand. Okay, so to begin with, I'll start with a wash. Alright, you pick up a brush and go pick up clean water. Always keep a habit of draining your brush a little bit from the neck onwards. And unless you're quite confident you need to pick up some paints to mix your colors, then by all means go ahead. I'll use blue color. Okay, now remember to paint, always mix your paint to a consistency, oily consistency. Okay, not too watery and as well as not too dry. Alright, the difference between poster color and watercolor is that the watercolor allows you to really throw in a lot of water to dilute the paint without losing the brightness and or what we call the saturation of the color quality. Okay, but with poster color, like I said, it is filled with a lot of powdered color pigment. You cannot afford to throw in too much water. Your colors will become very diluted and it will become faded. Okay, so a wash is simply one stroke and just add another drop of water and get another drop of water, drain, get another drop of water, drain, and you'll find that the colors becomes lighter and lighter. Okay, that's a wash. Okay, or you can simply just mix the color and just paint over. Alright, while the paint is still wet, so it's almost like a wet on wet painting effect. Alright, now a variegated wash basically means you do a wash with 3 different colors. So usually we start with a lighter color so that you won't dirty your colors. So let's say I want a variegated wash of 3 colors, yellow, red and blue. I always start with the lightest color. Alright. Okay, then because it's a light color, I can use the tip of my brush to pick up a little bit of red. Then go back to the mixing area. Oops. Okay. Then to blend the orange and the red, again I dip my brush back into the container, drain, pick up my orange and try to press down in between while the paint is still wet. So you find that you can pick up a little bit more red. You find that the colors will blend in gradually. You won't have a sudden change in tone. So to keep my blue on the left hand side clean, I'm going to clean my brush thoroughly. Bring in my drain. Pick up clean water from another container. And make slightly more blue paint. I will start on this left hand side. Okay. Alright. Then I will clean away a little bit of the brush, blue color in my brush, dip it in, drain. There's still some blue color here. Alright, then I will brush it over. Alright, then I can, if the blending is not very good, I can dip it one more time, drain, and in between, run it over again. Okay, but the color might get a little bit, okay, you just have to play around a little bit. Alright. Okay, now blending colors. Usually, if you don't want to buy the whole box of paints, I will always think that you can actually survive with yellow, red and blue and white or black. Okay, and with these 3 primary colors, you're actually able to mix a plethora of colors. Alright, now to blend colors, it's almost like a variegated wash. Okay, but this time around, perhaps I want to make sure that my colors blend more evenly without the watery effect. A wash will give you a more watery effect. Okay, so if I paint a red circle, okay, now I want to add some tones to this red strange looking ball. Okay, and instead of black shadow, I'm going to give it purple shade, a purple shade. Alright, so while the paint is still wet, I'm going to paint this. Note that I did not add water in it. Once I add water into my existing brush, right, I will change the consistency of the paint, and when I apply the purple, you'll find that there will be a very strange smudge. Okay, it will destroy the color blending. So I'll just do this. Okay, and if your hand is shaky, what you can always do is to hold the wrist, hold your hand here and place it down like an anchor. I use a little finger as a pivot, and you can actually draw neat lines over it. So now I dip my brush into the container, drain well, okay, and I'll just sweep over. So watch how it blends smoothly. Okay, alright. So if I'm paint round objects to make objects look really round, the darkest tone is actually not to use a dark color to draw an outline over the circle. It is actually to make an even darker purple in this case. Okay, and paint it somewhere here. You see, somewhere here. So visually, that it looks like it is rounded. And then one dot of shadow here. One dot of shadow here. Dip your brush, drain, and just testing. Okay, the shadow. Okay, the shadow can be faded here. So sometimes you'll find that after a while when you paint, right, you find that you cannot add a nicer tone on it anymore. Then you have to exercise some patience, let it dry. Once it dries, then you add another layer. So we're going to use wet on dry later on the shadow part. So we go back to dry on dry. So now that my paints are dry over here, okay, wet on dry is very straightforward. I just use wet paint to wash over. Now remember, these are watercolor or poster paint effects. So this effect will allow you to allow some parts, especially the darker colors, to show through, because colors like yellow and reds, they are more translucent, more transparent when diluted. So this is one thing that you can bank in on. Now dry on dry, okay, hold on, let's go back to wet on dry. So if I use a darker color, okay, see, once I add yellow to purple, I get a dirty olive green. If I use wet on dry over this same patch of colors, so a dark tone and a light tone covering different colors will give you different effect. This is something that you need to practice and explore. With practice, you'll get the hang of it. Okay, now dry on dry. What's so good about dry on dry? Dry on dry is good for detail work, good for textures, good for fur or whatever. So dry on dry, basically the second layer of the paint, I try to not add so much water. So can you see my paint? Okay, so now my blue is stickier. Okay, stickier. Then, and when I drag this over, alright, and sometimes you can physically try to press down your brush and run over. See? So in that way you can actually create textures as well. So this is dry brush marks on a dry background. But if you try dry brush mark on a wet background, what's gonna happen? Okay, alright, so let's try. Now I have a very wet background here. Alright, then I'm going to dry my brush. I'm just going to pick up. So sometimes it will still blend, sometimes it might not. So these are effects that you might want to play with and explore. Okay, now just now I was telling you about the shadow on this blending colors portion. Alright, so if I mix back my purple color, my purple shadow, alright, once this layer is dry, I can mix back another wash to apply the shadow, and it will make it look more natural and not so hard. Okay, Okay, something like that. Alright, with this is straightforward. Just pick up a piece of crayon, oil pastels, white color or any color, and you can also use a candlestick. Some of you may want to try nail polish and see what effect it gives you. And just do a wash over it. Okay, these are some of the effects that watercolor paints allow us. So I'm doing a wet on wet. Okay, alright, details need to be applied with dry paints. So okay, last but not least, you can always use black color as shadow and all that, but the impressionists, when they want to paint the light, they try not to use black color. But whatever black color you see in their painting, sometimes is due to the way they arrange the light colors next to their very dark colors. Now how do they mix very dark colors? Simply by adding yellow, red and blue all together. Okay, you know in your color theory, right? Yellow, let me turn my palette. Yellow with red is orange, right? Okay. Yellow with blue is green. And your red with blue is purple, right? Those of you who are using acrylic paint, you'll find that if you mix red with blue, you will get a brownish purplish tone that is not so pretty. Okay, so if you add more red to it, your purple becomes more reddish. If you add more blue to it, your purple becomes more bluish. So, and if you mix all these colors together, you get a tertiary color, an olive greenish tone. Okay, so if you want a dark color from red, blue and yellow, you don't have to add so much yellow. Alright, you can start with blue and red, and this is the color, resulting color. It's almost like a dirty blue color. Can you see that? Alright, so this is how we create a blackish color, inverted commas, tone in our painting. Alright, so if I now place this color back into my drawing, okay, let's say I outline it, purposely outline it. Does it look black to you now? I'm actually not using black color. Alright, so this is one way to mix a blackish tone, by placing it near light colors. Alright, okay, so in this column, under my own exploration, you can try to just blend colors, mix colors. Okay, starting from the light color, yellow, and then pick up red, and then pick up blue. My blue has turned green because I did not wash my brush. Okay, so this blue color is actually called Prussian blue. Now if I will make this tone even darker, then mix more concentrated blues and reds. You see how the color tone changed? So now it looks like there's black color in my painting, but all this while I did not squeeze out a drop of black paint. Okay, so for today's lesson, you need to show a variety of color mixing. Okay, just to get to know your paint brushes and your colors first. Okay, now end of the painting, always clean your brush well. Alright, I am very particular, it's not proven, but I like to wash my brushes with mild soap. Very little bit of soap. You put a little bit of mild watery soap here, and just gently sweep it like that, and massage the neck a little bit. Then rinse off. Once your brush is dry, just leave it flat to dry. Okay. Some of you may have new brushes. Your new brushes come with plastic cover, right? This is for the manufacturer. Throw that away. Don't try to put it back to protect your brush. Okay. Alright. Thank you for your attention.